Peasant Productions presents the math of ESP, why it works, even if you don't believe in it. Okay, I'm sorry. I am going to try to keep a straight face, but it's really hard to do, okay? Less than 2 months ago, I started Occupy ISS International Space Station. My personal little war to try and help save the world. Those of you out there probably realize by now that Trump made a laughing stock out of himself, and there was all kinds of Twitter fests and enjoyable fun, poking fun at the United States suddenly declaring that they needed to make a space force. And they're going to take all their militaries and combine them into one thing. Yeah, so think about it, folks. One man by himself has literally turned the United States upside down. They are now in the midst of scrambling very fast to build a space force or something to try and control near space out there. I shouldn't say inner space, but near space. And directly as a response to my having started Occupy ISS _INT space station, yes. In other words, International Space Station, me, poor little me, and my ideas are so damn powerful that they just did an about face very quickly, and they're trying to figure out what to do now. Like I said, now remember, the International Space Station was started by 7 countries. There are 15, including the United States, which says it is going to walk away before 2020. So they are on the exit, they're out, they're booted, okay? There's still 14 other countries that have investments in that thing up there. So it does not belong to any one country. It cannot have any military stuff on it because no paranoid country is going to allow another paranoid country to put a bomb on board. They might drop the wrong bomb on the wrong person. So needless to say, it's an international thing for the survival of the whole planet. Now, the fun thing to do right now is to watch and see if the U.S. military suddenly comes forward with this idea of building space shuttles very quickly and making them all in one piece and using the entire, you know, like I said, well, actually titanium wire, carbon fibers, you know, with a ceramic shell, you know, all this kind of a stuff, and try and put it into very quickly into production somewhere, somehow, okay? Multiple units even, possibly, all over the place. Because you see, if nothing else, the 0.01% elite rich have realized that I'm telling the truth. You have nowhere on your planet to go run for safety. If you dig yourself a hole in the ground, you still have a risk of a volcano pouring lava over you, or you ending up submerged under a new ocean as an earthquake shakes, or a mountain drops, or who knows what. Okay, so you can't hide in a cave. You can't go in a mountain. You can't be sitting in the middle of the ocean on a boat, because you've got to have somewhere to come ashore sooner or later to restock. The oceans are dying. Your oxygen supply is going away. So you have, you know, multiple situations where you need that space station and my technology capabilities to put all this stuff into a situation. You have this, which is going to wipe out your societies as a group functioning organization relatively soon, okay? It's happening. You know, they're trying to hide little bits and pieces, but you know, you go watch the sites that cover, you know, outbreaks of infectious diseases. You look at the news for the outbreaks of these toxic algae blooms and animals being in the wrong place by thousands of miles because currents are changing, water temperatures are changing, air patterns are changing, everything's changing. You're intermixing absolutely everything. How the heck are you going to keep a bird that used to only fly in the South Pacific out of flying in the North Pacific or going over to the Atlantic, unless you're literally shooting and killing everything everywhere, which means you are actually facilitating the death of your planet, okay? You have all of this problem, you have no way to solve it, and the only answer you have is literally something that's as crazy as me and my International Space Station, a completely developable, buildable system up here in my head. And like I said, we got this understanding last time that everybody's ranting and raving about how carbon fiber is really wonderful, but the oil industry is telling you that it takes absolutely clean, pristine plastics to do this. There was recently a release in the news that people realized that, hey, you can take all this plastic waste all over the planet, all over the beaches, all over the mountains, all over your cities, and you can turn it into carbon fiber for that. Now, what's to keep you from also taking that and developing it into a resin to use to make it all there? And then, like I said, you're going into basically a mold, okay, the same way you'd make a flower pot or various things of this sort. Even a hamburger press is a good idea. Sit there, you pack it in, you squeeze it down. Okay, well you've got this mold. You put the wireframe, you build a wireframe, you close the mold around it, you spray in your ceramic, you spray in your carbon fiber, you spray in another layer of ceramic or something on the inside to seal it all down to something that you can paint and look nice, and you start putting stuff into it and building all the inside bits and pieces. You have your tubes run so that you just come in and you're just like building a big skyscraper. You got electrical tubing, you got plumbing tubing, all this stuff. Just you're just sliding the stuff in afterwards, after it's been baked, because the ceramic has to be baked and the carbon fiber has to be baked, and they both bake in the 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 degree range, and they have to be baked slow and they have to cool down slow. So you put it in, you cook it, from there it's wheeled, Henry Ford assembly line right on into the cooling room, and it starts cooling, and it spends the next 4 or 5 days cooling down, so everything is absolutely beautifully wonderful, and you've got as few flaws as possible, and you have an entire ship built. And it took you only a month to put the whole thing together. And so you start kicking these out, okay? Another thing to think about, okay? You have this toxic water all over the place, okay? It has a lot of heavy metals that are poisonous. One of those metals, folks, is lead. Lead happens to be a shielding against radiation. So if you're running water filters, whether it's ocean water or stream water or lake water or whatever, and you're filtering all these toxins out, and you're taking a lot of these toxins and you're putting it into that plastic resin that you're making your carbon fiber with, you're actually literally, in essence, building a heavy metal shielding inside the carbon fiber itself. It's not a separate layer. It's that whole, if you got a carbon fiber that's 5, 6, 7 inches thick, and it's all blown in, and it just goes, you just squirt it on in there, and you seal the whole thing up and let it dry, and then you pop it into the oven, and it's got a bunch of the heavy metal toxins that you need to get rid of. Okay, you need to get rid of it. What's the probability that you probably just gave yourself a little bit of radiation protection? And again, you are using up something that is now currently killing you. You're doing yourself a favor, you're doing your planet a favor, aren't you? So you see the problem, and for me, the absolute amusement, why I'm laughing so hard at the idea that, yeah, 1,600 a day, I hit the button and put out another post showing, oh, by the way, folks, take note that one man all by himself has just made the entire United States military, all the branches of the United States military, spin around doing about face and start running like heck to try and figure out what to do. Okay? So there is an extreme amount of power in being intelligent. There's an extreme amount of power in thinking for yourself. There's an extreme amount of, oh yeah, way down under here, my miracle thing, how to make a miracle happen, let it all flow, put the energy in it, the whole faith routine, and yeah, I've got lots of faith in the spiritual realm, we can do this stuff. And I kept the motion going. 35 years after I initially sent that first letter to President Reagan and made him turn around in 4 months and announce that NASA had completely rethought everything. And that's created over $1 trillion of income, to which, hey, I haven't collected a penny yet. You people want to donate to me? My PayPal is my email account. It'll be listed in the thing. I've got a PayPal donation button on my blog site that this and other places goes out. I've got a Patreon site that you can always go and do a donation there if you want to make certain every month I'm getting $5. Hey, no problem, I'll take it. $5 buy me a meal or two in town, real easy. Okay, so yeah, think about it, folks. I have literally in your face proven what I'm saying can be done. Because Donald Trump got up there in less than 60 days after I first start talking about, fine folks, I'm starting my own little private war. I'm going to take on the entire world here and try and change every government on this world into thinking about keeping survival. And the very first one to fall and collapse is the entire United States military. Yeah. There is power in the pen. It is mightier than any gun. It is mightier than any bomb. The faith in your own self-esteem in what you do is very powerful. Bragging like Trump does with an open mouth and insert every foot he's got and then some, obviously doesn't do anything. You still got him raping and pillaging your planet. You still got every, ludicrous idiot that doesn't have an IQ over 100 still singing praises for a guy that has taken away the EPA, which is your Environmental Protection Agency. He handed that over to the big oil companies. One guy's out, he just replaced him with another big oil man, folks. There's no difference. The guy was years of lobbyist for the coal, the coal industry. How deadly is coal ash? And you just handed the EPA over to a guy that knows that most of the coal companies and the coal-fired power plants got no way to do anything with that coal ash? I wouldn't be surprised if we could go around and start scraping up that coal ash and putting it in as part of the fiber, because it's partially a carbon anyways. Use it up. Do something with it. You might save your life. But think. Try. Examine the possibilities. They're endless. And I can't be the only one smart enough to think.